So today we will be continuing the Art of Giving series, and we will be making a silhouette city collage, which will be layered paper art. This is just to give you an idea of what we'll be making today. And for this project, you need some handouts. There are 5 handouts in total. They can all be found on ArtSphere's blog. They're free, and a link will be in the description as well. So you need to print these out, and they have, again, 5 parts. So this is part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, and part 5. And with that, you will also need some construction paper or colored paper. I have some of both, and I think either will work. So you need to have at least 3 different colors that go from light to dark. So you'll want to have a light color, a darker color, and then the darkest color, which in my case is light purple, dark purple, and black, and this will be your cityscape. You also will want to have a background color, and I chose blue because there's a moon, so dark blue. The red and the yellow are for decorations, and the white is for the top layer of the project, which I'll explain more later. Along with both the construction paper and the handouts, you need some scissors, some glue, and I have both liquid glue and a glue stick. I have some whiteout and a white pen or white paint. You could use whatever, and this is also optional. You need a pen or a pencil, a writing utensil of some sort, and you also need some scrap cardboard or foam board. This is an optional step as well, but it will help give your piece more depth, which we will talk about later as well. So after you print out all of your handouts, you need to cut them out following the lines, and for part 5 especially, cut out the inside but leave the outside. That's the part that you want, and I'll show you because I already cut them out. When you cut them out, it will look like this. This is the 3rd silhouette city collage page handout, and I labeled it 3 just because that makes it a bit easier to remember. This is the 2nd one, this is the 1st one, and this is part 5. So you cut out the inside but not the outside, and the moon, and love. So it'll look something like this in the end, but we're gonna do it with colors. So the next step would be to take each piece and trace it onto the colored paper. For the city part of this, you're going to want to make the 3rd handout, or the one that will be in the very back, the lightest color. When you trace it, I personally will be flipping it just so I can have the layout that I want. So I will be flipping this so the pen will not show when I cut out the piece. So just trace along the edge of the paper that you cut out, along the handout paper that you cut out. Okay, and then when you finish, it should look something like this. Another way you can easily tell if it's handout 1, 2, or 3 is the 3rd one is the one that will be in the back, and it is the tallest. And as you can see, the 2nd one and the 1st one, it's 2nd and 3rd tallest. To trace the second one, I'm going to do the same thing. Okay. For the one in the forefront, or the one that's closest to you, I'm going to trace number 1. It's a bit hard to see on camera, but just know where you're cutting. The blue piece I'm going to keep blank because it will be the background one. And then white will be this part. Okay, and again, we will be needing the outside and not the inside, but we will worry about that when we cut it. And you'll need the red part, and I've decided that I'm going to trace love here, but I'm going to, again, do it this way, so I will be able to flip it without having to see the pen lines. And lastly, I'm going to trace the moon. Once again, flipping the template upside down. So for the moon, we have love, but it will be flipped. We have our oval template, our City 1 template on the darkest color, our City 2 template on the second darkest color, and our City 3 template on the lightest color. And now I will proceed to cut them out. And again, for this one, you want the outside of it, so I would recommend folding it in half, cutting it in the middle where you know you don't need that area, taking your pair of scissors and continuing to just cut around the edge. Okay, and then once everything is cut, it should look something like this. So it was originally this side with the pen showing, but if you flip it, the pen doesn't show. And then you have your second piece and your third piece. This color will be my background, so it would be more like this. The moon and the word love. So you can of course glue it like this, or you can use some cardboard or foam board and cut little squares of it. This will allow your pieces to pop out more. I personally wanted to make it pop out even more, so I ended up gluing 3 pieces together. And once that's dry, you can start assembling. This is also a good time if you wanted to make the buildings have some lights. I would only recommend making the first layer have lights, but if you have some extra yellow paper, then that would be good if you would like to add more details. I'm just gonna cut them into small rectangles or squares. And then I can glue it onto the buildings. I would recommend putting this aside and not doing it on the rest of your piece, but I am a little late to that. Okay, and if you decide to add that, it just gives it a little bit more detail. The next step is also optional, and this is also just another way to give your piece a bit more detail. You can add some stars to the background layer, and not everyone has white pens or acrylic paint, so I'm just going to use some plain old whiteout. So next you would add your city, and it's better if the bottom lines up. I'm going to put a few pieces of cardboard down. And I made these all in advance. Adding more glue so I can put this down. And it might be good to also add a couple to the building area. So they can stand up more as well. The more you add, the more stable it will be. Okay, great. And then you can move on to the next layer when you're satisfied with the number you have. If possible, put the cardboard pieces near the other ones so it's more stable. If you can, wait in between the times of each layer so the glue dries. Okay, and then I'm going to move on to the third layer. I would recommend adding a lot more support to the bottom layers, or else you might have to go back in and add more pieces to it later, like I am doing now. Last large layer. I would recommend for this area you stack some on top of each other to make it the correct height. Okay, and once you finish the cardboard pieces, and For the large ones, there are 12 pieces because each layer has 3 for mine. And then I can finally add the outer layer. Then I'm gonna add the moon. And you want to do this after you finish the piece so you can see, make sure it's not under the white or whatever color you choose, that outer area. You can put the love inside the city. I think I will put it on the outside. Okay, so let's talk about depth. This project has a lot of depth. When you add the cardboard, it makes the project look a lot less flat and it adds more dimension to it. Depth is the distance between the top and bottom surface, so the background layer versus the outer top layer, or it's the deepness of it. And with all the cardboard, it definitely helps add that dimension and add that deepness. This project also encompasses layers, and there are lots of sheets of paper in this instance, and for layers there are usually more than one, and it covers like a surface, so each piece of paper is covering the other, and that's a layer. That's it for this project. Hopefully we'll see you in the next lesson, and I hope you enjoyed.